It's been a wet and windy start to the week, forcing Paul to put off returning to a valuable decking restoration job. After a few phone calls, he manages to bring forward a booking in Bingley to clean a resin driveway. It's not a big job, but it's solid, bread and butter work and good for cash flow. With no afternoon work booked, Paul returns to his new lockup to build out more racking. When the weather finally breaks, Paul fits in a short-notice visit to a repeat customer in Knaresborough, set right by the river. It's all going according to plan until an unexpected water leak threatens to stop him sanding the block paving.
Tuesday morning in Bingley, small resin driveway, steps to the front door and a little bit of paving down the side of the house. Indian sandstone, a bit of black spot here and there. Slightly wet today, spitting.
Before getting started with the resin driveway, Paul cleans off the pathway down the side of the house. It's made from an attractive-looking Indian sandstone, and after a quick jet wash, it comes up lovely.
Tiny bit of lichen on these slabs, but there's no build-up to speak of. Weak hypo solution will sort that out.
Whilst cutting in the edges of the resin drive, he notices the dividing wall is looking a bit grimy, so he gives that a clean too. Paul finds that a bit of goodwill goes a long way with his customers. It doesn't take long, and it's easy to do. For the resin-bound surface, Paul uses his rotary flat surface cleaner. It has 2 jets spinning rapidly just above the surface, and it quickly makes light work of the dirt and grime. Going back and forth in straight lines can result in a tramline pattern where the dirt is deposited at the edges. To avoid this, Paul uses a donut motion with his flatty. A figure-of-8 pattern also does the trick. With the pressure washing tasks completed, Paul applies a chemical treatment to finish the job off. The product sanitizes the area, killing off algae and lichens, whilst also lightening and brightening the now clean surfaces. The next morning, Paul is back at the new lockup.
So work continues at the container. I've got racking all the way down this side. It's full to the gunnels. We need more racking. You even need room for empty containers until such time as you can dispose of them. Thursday morning, working here in Knaresborough. I only booked this job yesterday. It's a repeat customer. Absolutely idyllic riverside property, but it's a big site and my hose pipes are already at full stretch and I need to use some extensions. So a fantastic location, built into the cliffside in Knaresborough and directly overlooking the river. The main area to clean is this long pathway to the front of the property. York stone, crazy paving. And we've also got this terraced area, which is a little bit of Indian sandstone and a little bit of block paving. As well as being a lovely shady area, it's got an awful lot of tree cover here. And of course you'll have spores raining down, which is just adding to the various biofilm growths and adding to the slipperiness. Now the pointing in the crazy paving is a little bit broken, and in places you can see where it's been patched up. I'm going to use reduced pressure, hot water and a turbo lance. I'll just take a little pause here. We've got an interesting line where we've got a before and after, and I haven't yet put any chemicals down, but it's already looking considerably better. This patio area looks like the pointing's all broken up. There's lots of moss in the joints. It's going to be difficult to get out without making the pointing worse. So the pointing's absolutely knackered. The moss is there because the pointing isn't there, if you know what I mean. Trouble is, if you try and blast out the moss, you end up taking a bit more pointing with it. This whole area needs repointing, and I think the homeowner will be interested in that. For the moment though, I'm just going to clean the slabs and leave the moss there as a feature. These Indian sandstone slabs are really badly stained, so I'm going to get some chemical down on them along with the paved areas that I've cleaned elsewhere. Well, while these chemicals are working their magic, I'm going to take a break and have some lunch. Well, to say how dark and discoloured it was. There's a lot of organic staining, and I'm going to try and use some stronger chemical now to spot treat some of the worst areas. So I'm not expecting a 100% result here, and nor is the homeowner, but I'm going to try and do what I can. I've got this area of block paving to do, and I knew it was here. I've done this job before, so I brought some sand with me. It's dried off now, and I ought to be able to just brush it straight in and call it done. However, I forgot to secure a valve on the pressure washer in the van earlier on, and I had a bit of a blowout with water everywhere, and it's gone and made my sand wet. It's not soaking or anything, but it's wet enough to make dry sanding difficult, if not, impossible really. So I'm going to do an alternative technique here. I'm going to do what they call wet sanding. Now, quite a lot of people in the business are sceptical of wet sanding, and they say that even though they've never tried it. Without a doubt, wet sanding takes longer than dry sanding. Okay, but in some places it's how they do it. In Germany, for example, almost all block paving is wet sanded. What you do is you add water to the sand so it's like a slurry, and then quite simply you just brush it in. The water carries the sand to the bottom of the joints, and it's a perfectly viable method. It just takes longer. With an area this size, that's not going to be a problem. What's it going to do? Add maybe 10 minutes to the process. That's much better than doing a return trip of maybe an hour and a half to get this job sanded on a dry day. So I'm going to pour a bit out. Add water, loads of water, more water the better. And then brush. More water again, and then get brushing again. Obviously this is going to leave a bit of sand on the surface, but after I finish brushing in, I'm just going to rinse that away. So I'm going to rinse this off now with a wide low pressure nozzle. I think the one I'm using here is a 060. It'll give me a nice wide span with big droplets rather than a jet. All we want to do is float this sand away. We don't want to blast the sand out of the joints. All sanded. Well, time to rinse down and get home. It's my birthday today, 59, and the missus has promised me a nice steak dinner and a cool beer when I get in. Well, this Indian sandstone crazy paving has come up pretty well overall, especially so when you consider the state of it before I started work this morning. There are, however, some areas of black spot that persist. The reason being is that York stone is incredibly soft, and these organisms literally take root in the stone itself. They're alive and resident in the stone. Now, with enough time and by using the highest strength chemicals, I could probably improve on this considerably, but that wouldn't really be in the budget on this occasion, and frankly not environmentally responsible either, given the proximity to the river.